This is Tackle Talk Live, an inside scoop on how, when, and where to catch bass, with a primary focus on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Interviews with anglers who are consistent winners on the tournament trail. Your hosts, Camus Boats Pro staffer Steve Graff and Gill Fishing Accounts Manager Kevin Jean. Two anglers who understand bass fishing with tournament success on all levels. Anglers willing to share their knowledge to help you become a better fisherman. So sit up and pay close attention as they give detailed tournament information and results. Here are the hosts of Tackle Talk Live, Steve Graff and Kevin Jean.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with Gill Fishing Accounts Manager Kevin Jean. And Kevin, today, of course, we're in that time of year. Things are getting a little slow. A lot of tournament championships are wrapping up, and of course, we'll have a few in the fall we'll get to when we come back in the fall. But for the next, month and a half, Tackle Talk Live is going to kind of be on a little hiatus.
Well, we always go through June every year, Steve. So we're going to have a show this week. We'll have a show next week. We're going to we will come back and have the Brandon Belt winner on the week after the Belt event. Sometime during that week, that is ICAST week. We'll have to announce a time and date later. We'll take August off. We'll probably do a show or two in September. We'll probably do a show in October. That's about it. We take the rest of the year off. There's just not enough going on. Not enough bang for our sponsors' bucks, I guess you could say. So,
right.
We'll have a couple shows here and there. So just be tuning into the YouTube channel. We'll be, going over some championships in the fall, but getting ready to start back up January 1st, wide open. So.
And it just seems like it was yesterday that we did our first show for 2024, and all of a sudden here we are almost in the end of June.
Yeah.
I mean, the time just flies by so fast now. But anyway,
Steve, we've been doing this for over 5 years too.
See that when you said that a few months ago, I was like, ain't no way. But Yep, you're right. 5 years, I'm like, dang. But it's hard to believe my other show, Hooking Up, Tracking Down, we've been on there for 17 years, and I'm like, that's just hard to believe. But anyhow, today's show, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Solo 150. We're going to wrap it up on Sam Rayburn and Gill Fishing Team, a guy that works for Gill. He's part of the fishing team.
Yeah.
Corporate manager. He just does it all. Walt Stevens took home first place with a little over 33 pounds for a 2-day tournament. We're going to wrap that one up. He also wrapped up the 2024 AOY Angler of the Year. And Kevin, this guy basically dominated the circuit, winning 2 out of the 3 events. Lake of the Pines, Sam Rayburn, and he took home 7th. He was finished 7th on Toledo Bend. So just a great year for Walt.
Yeah, Walt's had a good year, and Walt's been putting together some really good bags, and we just haven't had a chance to have him on the show. Every time, I always pick on him because every time he has a good event like Lake of the Pines, we had something really big happen. We had somebody else on. He had a good, I think he had 16, 17 pounds back-to-back days. He had a good event over there, Rayburn. It's hard to be consistent on Sam Rayburn right now, what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And he did that for 2 days, so he won the event. But really going to dive into Sam Rayburn with Walt. He caught an 11 and an 8 in practice. So kind of really going to get him to dive into Sam Rayburn for us and break us down. I know we also have the results from the Outlaw Outdoors Father's Day tournament. Which had a really good turnout, as they always do for that tournament, and had some good weights for a 3-fish tournament. They really did.
Yeah. Friday, a Solo 150 guys kind of had the lake to ourselves. Wasn't a lot of guys practicing. I think the heat actually kept people off the lake. But Saturday was a different ball game. There was a lot of competition, a lot of guys out there. I think Walt had a little situation he had to deal with on one of his spots, and he handled that really well. And the guys that were on his spot, they handled it really well. And we'll get Walt to talk about that. There's still hope, Kevin, that people can get along on the water. So there's still hope. And but we've got that story, and we've got the latest on the lake levels for Rayburn, Toledo Bend, as both lakes are they're both fishing totally different right now. Toledo Bend's still on fire. Everybody I hear is still catching them at Toledo Bend. We've got a good tip of the week for all you guys that like to punch grass or flipping cypress trees, especially for the Sam Rayburn guys in that 10 to 12 foot. You're flipping trees in 10 to 12 foot of water. People are like, what? Well, it's 7 foot high right now. So it's a little different game over there at Sam Rayburn than it normally is. So, but we get all this and more today right here on Tackle Talk Live. We're going to take a quick break, recognize a few of our great sponsors. When we return, we'll have Walt Stevens.
A good marine dealer is hard to find, but a great dealer is even harder. But in Iowa, Louisiana, there's a marine dealer that falls into the great category. Power Implements Marine, South Louisiana's go-to dealer for all things related to the boating industry. A Minn Kota, Garmin, and Mercury dealer, guaranteeing you first-rate service in both sales and repair. A great selection of new and used boats to choose from, including Skeeter, G3, Ranger, Camus, and Go Devil. A knowledgeable staff that will treat you like family and are always willing to go the extra mile to ensure you walk out a happy customer. To see everything they have to offer, go to powerimplements.com or stop by 606 East Miller Street in Iowa, Louisiana. Plus, mention Tackle Talk Live and save $500 off a new or pre-owned boat or $50 off your first service ticket. Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Nothing is worse than being sick on your family or fishing getaway. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in the hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your health care needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6 just south of Toledo Town, or call 318-508-5323. Very few stores are a complete one-stop shop, but Cypress Knee Outdoors is such a place. A store within a store. Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's Four-Way. Whether you need gas, food, drinks, or bait and tackle, they have it. Cypress Knee Outdoors carries top-name fishing brands like Strike King, Sandtone, Spro, and V&M. Crappie jigs from Bobby Garland. Need hunting gear? They have it. Ammunition from rifle to shotgun shells. Deer scents from Buck Wild and Doe and Heat. Deer stands from Titan and feeders from T-Hanger. Cypress Knee has it all. Located off I-49, exit 127, just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors and let John Abram and his staff show you everything they have to offer. Or give them a call at 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live. I want to thank you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Toledo Health, 3J's Four-Way, home of Cypress Knee Outdoors, Seaguar Fishing Line, and Power Implements Marine, located in Iowa, Louisiana. If you mention Tackle Talk Live, you get two choices. You can get either $50 off your first service ticket or $500 off a new or used boat right there at Power Implements Marine, located in Iowa, Louisiana. Thank all you guys. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for all your support of Tackle Talk Live. On the Tackle Talk hotline, we've got the man who has dominated a circuit this year and who is an outstanding angler in his own right, well-deserved Angler of the Year for the Solo 150 Tour, Walt Stevens. And Walt, man, congratulations, dude. You know, me and you have known each other for quite a while now, and we've shared some meals together, shared some houses together. And dude, I've always been impressed with how you conduct yourself and the level of talent that you possess. You just do a great job, man.
I appreciate it, Steve. Appreciate that a lot.
So Walt, let's talk a little bit. Sam Rayburn, you won 2 out of the 3 events on the Solo 150 this year. You won Lake of the Pines, which you freaking caught them on. Sam Rayburn is a little bit tough. The main thing on Sam Rayburn is it's hard to be consistent right now, and you were able to do that for 2 days. Kind of break it down for us. Was it a spot? Was it a pattern? Kind of break us down how you was able to be consistent on back-to-back days on Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, so during practice, I got there that Saturday before, and I wasn't sure exactly what to expect because the water was so high. I didn't initially I went there thinking, I mean, it's going to be one in the bushes somewhere. So I did that for a little while, and I caught a few fish, and I started, thinking, well, this might be the deal, and then let me go check some other things. And I went and checked grass. I caught fish there. I went and started checking offshore. I caught fish there, and I was thinking to myself, man, it's like everywhere you go, there's fish, but they're all the same size. I mean, I couldn't find anything that just made me confident that this was the winning deal, I mean, you could catch 2-pounders, in the bushes, in the grass,
Right.
and 20 offshore, and so I decided, I was thinking to myself, I was like, grass fish tend to hang around, I mean, like, you don't ever catch all of them out of a spot typically. And I figured I could maybe manage those a little bit better, because the offshore fish I've been burned on so many times, and then the flipping fish in the bushes is just a crapshoot, man. I mean, you just have to flip a million bushes and get lucky and get the right 5 bites.
So
I put all my eggs in the grass basket.
So did the 7-foot high water, which those of you that don't know, Sam Rayburn right now is right at 7 foot above pool. Walt, did that impact your approach from the very beginning? I mean, I know you said you went and flipped bushes early, and again, I did the same thing, but it didn't seem to matter where I went. I was catching small fish. I just could not find a quality bite. When did you realize, okay, that the grass was probably better for me, more consistent?
Well, so I was fishing around, and I did catch a couple 3+ pounders out of the grass. And in my mind at the time, I even told Clayton this on Facebook. I was like, if 3 pounders is all I've got, I'm in trouble, because I mean, there's no way I'm gonna win with 3 pounders, And
Yeah.
but as practice wore on, more and more I thought about it, like, these 3 pounders are starting to look a whole lot better to me, because like I'm not catching anything better than that offshore or out of the bushes. And I just decided, like I said, after catching those 3 pounders out of the grass, I thought to myself, well, I mean, this is the best I got. This is what I'm going to go with. And so that I figured pretty much, I found 2 areas Saturday that I basically did all of my damage on. Both of them are just little grass, just bare spots in the grass is all it was. It's just little hard spots within the grass. And I found them just idling around old bank lines. I was idling the old bank line. I'd see this grass line, all of a sudden there'd be a void in it. And those voids are just where they were piled in. I don't, for whatever reason they were there, because I idled a million more miles of grass lines, and I never found another area that had them. It's just those two spots.
So morning of the tournament, Walt, and you made up your mind you're going to do the grass thing. I'm assuming you run straight to one of those bald spots in the grass to start the morning.
Correct. But, yep. Like I said, I put all my eggs in the grass basket, and I ran straight to that spot. It took me a little bit to get going. I was catching those fish. I was just throwing a Carolina rig out there. It was I was just dragging along that bare spot, and it took a little while, but by 7:45 or so, I had 4 decent fish in the live well. And then I got that 5th bite, and it was that real good fish that ended up actually breaking my hook at the boat. Steve, you and I had this conversation over dinner that night. I was telling you about it. It's a freak accident, freak thing to ever. I've never had that happen before. But anyway, after I stuck her and broke her off, I never had another bite off that spot the next, for the rest of the day or the next day. So pretty much, I mean, I went to my secondary, what I thought was going to be my secondary spot, and I went there, and I filled out my limit and called up a few more times. I ended up with 1596 after day 1, and I was in 5th place. When I went to that,
how big was the big
spot,
fish you lost?
I was guessing she was around 7 pounds.
Yeah, okay.
She was a big,
I got you.
I mean, I watched her come out of the water 2 different times, and I got her up the side of the boat, and she made one real hard run right under the boat, and whenever she ran, it's just like somebody just cut my line with a pair of scissors, and I thought my line had broken. And in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, I've never had, there's nothing out there for him to nick my line on. I've just retied, everything's good, and I get reeled in my Carolina rig, and my hook is broken in the shank. So it was just a weird deal. And at that point, I thought to myself, there's no way I can lose a fish like that. I'm not getting enough big bites. That right there is going to either cost me the tournament or the AOI, is what I'm thinking in the back of my mind after that happened. So,
And for your
But that
2 days, Walt, what would you say was your? I know you're throwing a rig a lot. What was probably your number one bait for those 2 days? What'd you catch most of your fish on?
Well, on day one, I did most of the damage on it was the V&M 4-inch V&M swamp hog. Just Carolina. That's when I Carolina rig. That's what I'm typically throwing like 90% of the time. I don't use a real long leader. I know some guys that use like 6-foot leaders and whatnot. I mean, I typically stick around 3 feet. That's about as long as I want to be. It's just more manageable. And when you get that long, if you run a real long leader in the grass, by the time you feel the bite, they've wrapped you around so much grass, and you reel down, you think you got your slack pulled in, and you set the hook, and they're wrapped up in 50 pounds of grass. So I just keep my leader fairly short.
Yeah.
Well, how on those hard spots in the grass? How deep are we talking? Are those hard spots?
So one of them is probably around right now. It's probably around
right now
8 to 10 foot. The other one is in about 12 foot.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said,
Steve, that's very similar. A couple of weeks ago, we had Corey Rambo on.
Yeah.
And they won the Skeeter Outlaw, the first week or second weekend of June. They won the Skeeter Outlaw championship. And that's what he was doing, 10 to 12 foot Carolina rigging off the grass line. Now, he didn't say if it was a hard spot or anything like Walt is, but something that was very, very similar to this. And this has got, and he said Derek Mundy was fishing something, right down from him. So it's got to be something on Sam Rayburn right now where the big fish are holding.
Yeah, and it could have been, hard spot, could be clay hard spots, could be road bed, could be any number of things, but and I've heard that that's where some of the fish on Corey and them, that they were on a road bed supposedly.
Right.
You don't know unless you're there. Right. But anyway.
Well, I think a lot of it just old bank line, there's some clay that runs out there, and then it meets some hay grass, and you just got an inside grass edge there. And if you got a little bare spot, and where that inside grass edge comes up and meets that clay, that's money.
Yeah.
Well,
what is it?
I want to pick your brain here on practice, because, and you and I were talking Sunday, I believe it was, and told me you caught an 11 and 8 in practice for this event. Let's jump into that. I mean, you catch an 11-8 in the same day. Obviously that is something you didn't go with. You went with a grass bite. So how was you able, one, how did all this go down? How did you catch them? Two, how did you not go do that in the tournament?
Well, so the 8-pounder was just off a main lake point in about 25 feet of water, and I was actually out there idling around looking for schools to throw a jig and a Carolina rig and to crank on, and I idled over one little spot, and I saw a few fish down there, and I wheeled around and I turned, and I pointed the scope at it, and there's a big one, just off the bottom of maybe a couple of feet. And I pick up a big flutter spoon, I fire it out there to her, and I mean, as soon as it hits bottom, I see her follow it down. As soon as I lift it up, she's got it. I did that for another probably 4 hours and never had another bite doing it. So.
Yeah.
So that was the reason I just said, man, there's no way I can rely on something like this. That was just one of those, I got lucky and ran across a big one, and it's just not something that I can stake my tournament on,
Right.
Did I do it during the tournament? Absolutely. I went out there trying to go out, get lucky and find one. But I mean, it's not something like, I wanted to make sure I secured a good limit before I even went big fish hunting like that.
Yeah.
What
about the 11-pounder?
The 11-pounder, she was in about 25 feet on a main lake point as well. I saw her suspended up off the bottom, and she actually had a big swim bait. I threw a big line through over her head, and she came up and just engulfed it. I couldn't believe it, honestly. Like I wasn't even sure it was a bass. It was so big on the scope that I was like, I'm not even sure if that's what I think it is. And as soon as that bait got over about 6 or 8 feet over her head, she saw it, and here she came. I was like, oh God, that might be actually and she ate it. And I was actually on the phone with a buddy of mine talking to him. We were trying to make dinner plans whenever that fish ate. And I FaceTimed him and showed him, and he was shocked as much as I was.
Well, Walt, being the Solo 150, I think this is our second year of the Solo 150 tour.
Shoot, Steve, it's like 4 years.
No, I think this is 4 now.
It's just 4 years.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
Once again, I lose track of time.
Like 4 years ago.
Yeah. But anyway, it's relatively a new circuit is my point. To win AOY, win Angler of the Year. I mean, Walt, what does that mean for you? What does that mean to you to accomplish that?
I mean, winning an AOY, I don't care if it's a local bass club or, the Bassmaster Elite Series. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, it's just hard to be consistent as an angler in general. So to me, it's anytime I can win an AOY, I'm proud of it. I don't care what level it is. Like, even if I'm fishing my local stuff at home, if I'm able to win a team AOY, that's important to me, because it just goes to show that, hey, you've been the most consistent angler all year long. And anybody who fishes tournaments knows how hard it is to be consistent every day in and day out. Bring 5 to the scales day in and day out. It's a tough task to achieve. So
and Kevin, I'll toot his own horn for him a little bit. It don't seem to matter where we go, Kevin. Walt it doesn't take him long to put something together. I mean,
right.
It may take him 2 or 3 days, but by tournament day, that first day, he is one of those guys that he is ready. When he backs his boat in the water, he's one of the guys that you've got to look at and say, okay, well, he's here. You better be ready, because he's probably going to be on them.
I don't know about all that, Steve. I like to tell people all the time, I fish a lot, and I just try to keep myself consistent. That to me, that's the name of the game, and any kind of tournament fishing that you do, if you're going to fish a full series, is consistency. If I can bring 5 to the scales every time, more often than not, I'm going to win more money throughout the year and potentially have a better shot at AOY than anybody else. You may not win every event, and you may not even be in the top 10 every event, but I mean, it's so important to bring 5 to the scales every day.
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. And for winning AOY, of course, next year you get your entry fees paid for the Solo 150, which $625 per tournament. That's pretty good little return on your dollar there. That's good for you. And you going into next year, I mean, it's profit. Anything you make on that next year is nothing but profit.
Yeah, that's the deal. It's any of these things that you fish. I mean, if you can fish for free, that's really the only way to make any significant money at this. We all know tournament bass fishing is not a money making deal. I mean, there's so much money involved between the boat expense, the entry fee, the fuel, the tackle costs. Winning an AOY means a lot from a financial perspective, because now I'm not on the hook for those entry fees for the next year. So.
Yep, that's exactly right. Kev, you got anything?
I think that does it for me, Steve.
All right. Walt, we appreciate you, dude. And again, congratulations, man. Well deserved and hard earned, but well deserved. And you do a great job. And it's always I look at you as one of the guys that I even though I'm 63 years old, I look up to guys like you. You're younger than I am, but hey, you're doing it the right way. You work hard. You put the time and effort in it. You ain't got somebody giving you a bunch of waypoints and pointing you. You work for what you get, and you do it the right way. And I just want to commend you for that.
I appreciate it, Steve. And like I said, I appreciate what you guys do. I know you said y'all been doing it for 5 years now. I hope y'all go for another 15. I really enjoy the show, and I hope y'all continue to grow.
Thanks, Walt. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Walt Stevens, and congratulations once again to Walt. Kev, I mean, he's just, like I said, and I meant what I said, when you back your boat in the water on tournament day.
Oh, yeah.
Seminole was a good example for me. He had a shot to win Lake Seminole, which was the Ray Scott National Championship. If he hadn't had some situations on the water on day 2 that really, it didn't spin him out, but other people kind of wrecked his area for him. And
look, Steve, here's the deal on Walt. He lives way up northeast Louisiana, fishing all these Rayburn and Toledo. Look, I work with Walt.
Yeah.
I know I don't get to fish
near
as much as all these other guys. So, man, when you're able to go and do what he did on these lakes that are so far from his house, you're right. I mean, hats off to him, because he has a little bit of time to put it together. And that little bit of time that he's able to get on the water, he puts it together.
If he gets 3 or 4 days, if he gets 3 or 4 days, Kev, I'm telling you, he reminds me of Nick LeBrun in a way. Nick was able to dissect water pretty quick. Yes. Walt, to me, is in that same category. He can dissect water really quick and can put something together and be competitive. I don't care if he's been to the lake or not. He ain't never been to Seminole. Right out the gate, he was competitive at that place, and it was impressive. And so that's when I really got to be the most impressed with Walt. But you referred to his Lake of the Pines tournament. Y'all, he wrecked them. I think he had 27 one day, 28 the next day. I'm telling you right now, that was maybe the best day I've seen, 2 days I've seen an angler have all year. Walt smashed them at Lake of the Pines. And but anyway, all right. Kev, we're going to take another quick break. We got lake level reports, tournament results. We'll wrap up the Solo 150, give you the final results of that. And we got the Outlaw Outdoors Father's Day tournament results. And, I don't know, are we trying to preview Brandon Belt Championship yet, or are we going to wait another week?
We're going to wait another week. Okay. Yeah, we got next week for that one.
So we'll get to this other stuff when we return with more Tackle Talk Live. We'll be right back.
Pride Rods, custom-built fishing rods made to handle any and all techniques. Fishing rods designed for sensitivity and made to last in Montgomery, Texas. Built by Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up to try it for yourself. Take pride in your fishing by using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local fishing guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guide for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. 2 locations to serve you in both Nacogdoches and Bravos, Texas. Or give them a call at 936-205-4467. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to our final segment here on Tackle Talk Live today. And this segment presented by Seaguar Fishing Line. That's right, Seaguar. Got it right here on my shirt. Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. Kevin, what happens when you mention Tackle Talk Live?
You get 2 options. You get $50 off a service ticket if you need any service work done on your motor or trolling motor, or you get $500 off the purchase of any new or used boat they have there on the yard. So make sure to tell the guys right there at Power Implements Marine that everybody at Tackle Talk Live sent you and take care of the discounts.
Yeah, yep. And we appreciate you guys at Power Implements Marine, along with the rest of our awesome sponsors. Can't say thank you enough. That's what keeps me and Kevin on the air. And we appreciate each and every one of y'all. And we get a lot of compliments, Kevin. Even this past week at Rayburn, I had 3 guys come up to me. One was actually at the at dinner after we were leaving for dinner, and said they loved watching the show. Had 2 or 3 guys idle up during takeoff that morning. Man, y'all do a great job. Had a guy at the boat ramp say something to me. And, of course, I got Tackle Talk Live on the back end of my truck, so they see it. And a lot of them came over and said hello. And people just continue to appreciate what we're putting together for them, Kevin.
And Steve's still growing. We hit 2,000 subscribers. Last week at the end of the show, we was asking everybody right at the end of the show as we went off air. Our producer sent it to us. We hit 2,000 subscribers, so we just went over that mark. So can't say thank you enough to everybody out there. I mean, Steve, it's been 5 years. I never thought we'd get to 2,000 subscribers for doing what we do, just for covering basically Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn.
Yeah.
But man, it's been fun and enjoyed it, and excited to keep going.
Yep. Looking forward to 2025 for sure, and looking forward to this fall. All right.
Yeah.
Solo 150 results. I'll do these, and Kevin will give y'all the Outlaw Outdoors Father's Day results here in just a second. Walt Stevens, who we just had on, Walt brought in 10 fish for 2 days for 33.06. Clayton Bullware finished second with 30.88. He had, again, a limit both days. Brennan Flick, who rooms with Walt Stevens, and he's also roomed with us. Me and Walt and Olive have roomed together before. He came in third with 29.02. Had a 20 plus. Actually, was leading on day one, and faltered on day two. Didn't bring in a little less than 10 pounds on day two, but day one he smoked them. For somebody who hadn't even been on the lake pre-fishing, Brennan did a great job. Cole Moore, another stick. Cole finished fourth. He brought in two 5-bag limits each day for 26.85. Robert Sparks was fifth with 25.97. Todd Driscoll, another big stick, showed up over there. He finished sixth with 22.09. Sig Kilby, who was one of the guys who I saw at the boat ramp, got to visit with him, talked about Tackle Talk Live. Sig finished seventh with 21.96. Adrian James from Winfield, my roommate, finished eighth with 21.53. Chris Chitty was ninth with 18.90. Tarika Whitty was 10th with 18.62. And yours truly, I didn't have the great tournament myself, but I finished 11th with 18.26. But congratulations to those guys, especially and there was the upper echelon of this had, when you got Clayton Bullware, Walt Stevens, Brendan Flick, Cole Moore, Todd Driscoll, those are hammers over there. Those are guys that know what they're doing. And I thought the wasn't a great turnout in numbers, but the anglers that showed up were some good anglers that they know what they're doing over there at Sam Rayburn.
Right. Steve, so Outlaw Outdoors Father's Day tournament was Saturday. Always a big tournament for them every year. It's just a fun event. Most they offer $1,000 to the highest finishing father-son duo or team. Had a really, really good turnout. First place, Mark Duran, John Frazier, had 16-12. Keep in mind, this is a 3-fish tournament. They had 16-12 with an 889 big fish. Second place, Cameron Roan, Andrew Paler had 1567. Third place was, let's see here. Third place, Richie Thornton, Jason Stovall had 1514. Fourth place, Joe Wilkerson, Halleck Wilkerson, 1513. And fifth place, Delaney Bird, Marcus Salgado III had 1278. It paid 17 places. 17th place was $933 and won $250.
Yeah. And that's always a great. I think one guy I talked to at the boat ramp on Saturday morning before takeoff, as we were, I unloaded at Old Castle Boyton, and idled around for takeoff. But he told me they had over 100 boats.
Yeah, they did
in that particular Father's Day, which is probably their normal turnout. And but anyhow, all right. Upcoming tournaments this weekend. The new, this is a new division for ABA Pro League. It's the Louisiana division. They open Chris Wayan opened it up this year. They have their 2-day divisional championship this weekend on Caddo Lake. And Kevin, that's another place right now. A friend of mine, he just won a big tournament up there on Caddo this past weekend. And he told me it's fishing as good right now as it has all year. The frog bite has been on that body of water. When it's on Caddo, you can catch some toads.
Yeah, that water level, anytime that water level gets up like that on that lake and it gets settled in at a level and starts dropping a little bit, they turn it on.
Yeah. Kevin, you had some information last week on fishing for Lydia on June 29th. That's this weekend.
Yes, that is this weekend at Cypress Bend. Let me see if I can pull it back up here, Steve. I had it. Oh, here we go. So we have, please join us and support and help Lydia battle with Synephilipia syndrome.
Yeah.
Throwing that out there, Steve. Lydia Rochelle. The pre-registration is at Cypress Bend Friday night from, I think that is 5 to 9. Can register the morning of June 29th at Cypress Bend. It's from first place $5,000, second place $2,000. Let's see here. I don't see. I'm trying to look for entry fee. Anyway, we will. I think we forgot to post this, but I will post it as soon as we get off on our Facebook page.
Okay. All right.
Information for this tournament. It's a little girl from Natchitoches, Louisiana. They're having some, obviously some complications, and they're doing it's just a fundraiser for her. I think they're gonna have a really good turnout. A lot of people, a lot of prizes, so on and so forth. But I will get this posted on our Facebook page. Anybody interested in fishing this weekend, you can also contact Jason K. 318-542-2630 for any information.
Yeah, and also coming up, which we'll preview next week, we'll get into more detail about this tournament, the Brandon Belt Championship, which is basically 4 weeks away, 3 weeks from next week. It'll be opportunity for us to go over that. That's again July 12th and 13th on Toledo Bend. We'll give more detail about that. We'll see how Toledo Bend fishes the next week or so, and hopefully we'll get some good reports and see what's going on. Toledo Bend, Kev, I'm just telling you, and I think it's because the water's been up, but it ain't been like 3 foot or nothing.
Steady. It's been steady.
It's steady around that pool number consistently. And matter of fact, I've got some numbers right here. I'll go over that with everybody real quick. Toledo Bend 172.37. Right now, it's 4.44 inches above pool. It's had a 10-day loss. They're pulling it. They're generating, I'm sure, a lot down there, and they got the gates open. 9.24 inches is what it's lost in 10 days. So a little less than a foot it's come down. 24-hour gain, it's actually come up in 24 hours, 2.4 inches. So still water coming in from up north, Kevin. And again, we think it's
I think it's coming off Lake Fork. They've had the gates open, the floodgates open at Lake Fork. I have not checked to see if they're still open, but there's still a lot of water coming down from up there, from up north.
Right. Sam Rayburn, totally opposite. 172.46 is the elevation right now. That's 8.06 feet high above pool.
Yeah.
10-day gain of 1.11 feet, 24-hour gain of 0.24 inches. And so that's kind of what's going on with Sam Rayburn. And I can tell you from experience, if you're heading over there, one of the things and one of the tips I'm going to give this week, the little bobber stoppers, guys, if you're going to flip those big trees in 10 to 12 foot of water, you're basically flipping the top of a cypress tree. It's in 10 to 12 foot of water. Fish are in those outer trees out closer to the deeper water. There's fish in those. You can throw in them, but you better have your bobber stopper because you want that weight to stay connected to the bait to get it through those limbs and get down in there where those fish are hanging out. If you throw it without the bobber stopper, your weight gets hung up, the worm keeps falling. It's just not a good situation. You can end up getting hung up, and you're going to get hung up anyway. Let me just prepare you for that. But the bobber stopper keeps that bait in contact with that weight and allows that bait to penetrate and go down further. I was throwing 5/16 or 3/8 most of the time, and that seemed to be enough weight to get you through the limbs and get you through those brush tops that you're flipping those top of those cypress trees. And you can get bit doing that. Prepare to catch a lot of smaller fish, and it didn't matter if I threw Magnum trick worms. The Hollow Point. The Hollow Point by Black Label. Kevin, I threw that, and I went through 2 bags of those Hollow Point worms, man. That I'm telling you, Cliff Pace has hit a home run with that particular bag.
That's a bad dude.
I showed it to some of my guys. They'd never seen them before, and they're like, man, I like that. Well, you got any more? I said, no, they're for me only. So I wasn't sharing them, but I caught a lot of fish on them every single day, practice and on tournament days. That bait had a lot to do with what fish I did weigh in. But again, it didn't matter what size. You could throw the old monster. Smaller fish just seem to be catching the bigger ones is hard to find. And hopefully what you learned today from Walt, maybe go out to the grass and fish the grass instead of fishing. You can catch a lot of fish flipping trees, but getting the size is the problem. So, but anyway, if you're headed to Rayburn, that's my best advice. That's week tip of the week. Use the bobber stopper when you're flipping those top of those cypress trees. So, but anyway, all right. Kev, anything else?
I think that does it for us for the week. Like I said, we'll start previewing Toledo Bend next week, getting everybody ready for that Brandon belt, and kind of start. I got some guys lined up. I got a guy that's really been catching them over there. I'm hoping to get him on next week and kind of give us that update on before the tournament.
All right, good deal. All right, till next week, we want to thank you for tuning us in. Please check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever way you listen to any type of podcast. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will send out a detailed packet giving you all the information you need to become a sponsor of Tackle Talk Live. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.